So folks, if you've been watching my ukulele videos, you will have noticed a couple of brands that have sort of become very prevalent in the ukulele world. One is Aklot, and the other is this one, Aiersi, however you say that. And both of them are starting to crop up in the guitar world. I had a video not too long ago with an Aklot guitar, and this Aiersi, how do you say that? Somebody help me out. This one is very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if it's made in the same place. The thing about these guitars is they're the same price or around the same price as the Best Choice or the what are they called? The Glary acoustics. You can pick these up for about $89.99, $119, somewhere around there. They fluctuate, as do a lot of these brands. And so far, I think these are better made. All satin finished, solid wood top guitar. One of the cheapest that I've found. All solid wood with the. I don't think it's real abalone. It's a sticker. Looks like a shell, but I'm pretty sure it's just a sticker. Black binding, the usual Sapele, back and sides, Sapele neck probably. Very competent, very clean, classy looking guitar, nice bridge shape. What looks to be an ebony board, but I'm sure it's not. It's probably some stained. I should look into that. And then with the usual headstock and black capped keys there. I actually think that's just dark rosewood. But there are all kinds of things now, like blackwood and black stained walnut, and variants on fretboards. And this one, it looks nice. Really looks like ebony a lot. And the bridge does too. This sort of snowflake, mother of pearl, or whatever it is. So these, for the price, all solid top, satin finish. And what I like about these so far, and I include this Aiersi with the Aklot that I set up and showed you about a month ago, is they need less setup work than the Glaries and the Best Choices and the Rogues and some of them. So far, each of these brands that I've seen, whether it be a ukulele or a guitar, they're not bad out the box. I mean, they need tweaking, but they're not 3-4 hour jobs like some of the other ones I've got. I mean, literally, I've had to almost re-crown the whole guitar on some of the other cheap brands, to the point where I just don't buy them anymore. They require too much work for it to be worth it for me. And I include in that group a lot of the Glary guitars that I've got. I mean, yeah, sure, they're cheap and you might get a good one, but the ones I've had neck issues, chronic fret issues, to the point where I've had to basically level the frets and then re-crown them, do an entire fret job on the guitar just to set it up. I don't buy Rogues anymore. I don't buy the Best Choice guitars anymore. So a lot of the $100 guitars, for me, after doing a few, I just don't buy them anymore. The exception so far being these new ones that are cropping up. This one's Aiersi, and the Aklot guitars that I've been getting. And they just seem like a step up in build quality and setup and materials. I'm sure that if you bought 10 of these, you might get 1 or 2 that are bad and need setup or even returning. But so far, everything I've seen from these companies, even though it's not high-end stuff, it seems to be more competent in the state that it arrives in and the work you have to do to set it up. Some guitars are deceptive. They look great. They even perform well for a while, and then after a while you start noticing issues. A couple of weeks back I did a review of a Leo James guitar. I was quite excited about it, but over time I started developing neck issues with that guitar that couldn't be corrected with a truss rod adjustment, and I managed to get my supplier to take it on a return. So that guitar didn't work out. So sometimes these guitars, you don't see the problems right away, but if they're made with green woods or the wrong kind of hardwood, say with the neck or the fretboard, sometimes they start taking on issues after a certain amount of time. So you have to watch out for that as well. I was disappointed that Leo James guitar looked really nice, but turned out to be a big disappointment. And then thinking back to the other ones I had a year or two ago that were all solid wood tops, they were good at first, but I remember one or two of those starting to develop problems as well. So with these cheap guitars, it's not just how they arrive, how they set up, but how they fare over the first few months. Do they develop problems? Do they have materials that warp, or woods that aren't seasoned properly, or joinery issues that start coming apart after a certain amount of time? And after so much trial and error, you start learning to stay away from certain companies that where the percentages of those problem guitars are slightly higher than you want to deal with. I mean, I've had it in the electric guitar world too. You'll notice my early videos, I did quite a few Cozart electrics. I stopped doing them. Not because they're all terrible, just because there's a high percentage of guitars that are just not worth trying to fix or set up, and the return rate on those guitars is so high because most of them just show up with warped necks and fairly significant fret issues that most people are not going to be able to fix. And certainly I don't want to do a full fret job on every single cheap guitar I buy. I don't mind if I have a high fret here and there, or even if one's not hammered down properly and I have to tap it down. But when I start getting guitars and they consistently need complete leveling and crowning of every fret, then you start realizing that there is a serious quality control issue at the factory. Now I'm going to get comments where people say, well, that's everything in the $100 range and that's everything Chinese. No, it's not. Most people have not seen as many guitars as I have not set up as many guitars as I have not tried out all these brands. So I'm fairly confident when I come to a consensus about a certain guitar, which can change with more data that comes in. But I've seen a fair few Aiersi instruments now, stringed instruments. I've seen a fair few Aklot string instruments. I've seen a fair few Glary, Cozart, all of these cheaper brands, and I think I can make a fairly good assumption as to which ones are going to make better instruments in the long run. They're not all equal. They don't all stay at the same level. The levels fluctuate. Sometimes you have a first run that's good or bad, and the second run will be different. Sometimes you have a company that maintains a certain standard, then they go lax, or the other way around. They suddenly improve. Some companies switch factories, switch materials, and that can be good or bad as well. So there are lots of variables in this game. All I can say is that so far some of these companies seem to be more consistent than others, and it seems that more and more we're seeing more and more competency at this early price point level. This is a solid top guitar, satin finished, reasonable wood, good joinery. I think these sell for around $100, $120, and they seem to be upping the quality on some of these, and others whereas others are struggling. So just making that point. This is an Aiersi model number SG025MC41, 41-inch Dreadnought cutaway, solid top. Alright, see you on the next one.